opening celebration. We're here. Hoorah is right. We are here. Good morning, everybody. I'm Stephanie Klasky-Gamer, President and CEO of LA Family Housing, and I honestly could not be more thrilled to be here. Summit View Apartments is sort of sandwiched in between this crazy 3-year period of time we've all been living. The Councilwoman, myself, Daniel Huynh, Catherine Aguilar of LA Family Housing's team, we stood here in the middle of March 2020. We were disappointed that our groundbreaking that was scheduled for March 13th couldn't happen. And we came out here and said, something beautiful will be here. I believe you made a video that day. And you said, I welcome you all back to the grand opening. And here we are, true to her word. I actually want to begin this morning by respectfully acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory and homelands of the Tongva Nation. Recognizing and honoring our past is an important step in laying the groundwork to better serve our communities in the future. And that is exactly what permanent supportive housing, like our Summit View Apartments, does every day. This morning, you will hear from our elected officials and community leaders, as well as a current resident, about the many ways that this housing and its programs are already changing lives. But buildings don't just benefit the people who live here. When LA Family Housing and our colleagues at Many Mansions develop new housing, it is an investment in the community in which those housing units are built. These properties make entire neighborhoods stronger, healthier, and more vibrant. And our goal from the beginning has been to build something here at Summit View, formerly known in the city's legends as the Bluffs, to build something here on the Bluffs that has been responsive and gives back to the neighboring community. Back in the early days of this project, LA Family Housing and Many Mansions together hosted months of community meetings where we engaged our neighbors about what this project would include. We spoke about why housing and supportive services for veterans would benefit the area, and community members shared with us what they wanted to see. Today, we are proud that that input from the community can be seen throughout the entire design. For example, when you drove or walked up, did you see that beautiful tiered landscaping? It hides some really strong retaining walls. It has been a privilege to work alongside our partners, our elected officials, funders, and the community partners who understand the power of permanent supportive housing to transform communities and individual lives. In particular, we are so grateful to the City of Los Angeles for their partnership in converting this once-owned, city-owned land into a beautiful building that we see today, leveraging HHH funds to provide additional support from the rest of our public partners, county, state, and federal partners. At this time, you notice the program on your fan. At this time, I have the pleasure of introducing the ribbon cutting portion of our event before we resume with our speakers. But first, a few quick thank yous. I actually don't know, are Daniel and Catherine here? Okay, they get their shout out. Daniel was our chief real estate officer when we secured this property, and now he is a proud member of the City of Los Angeles family as the assistant general manager of our city's housing department. I'd also like to thank LA Family Housing's Board of Directors, represented by Francis and Jill. So glad that you're here. Lastly, we want to thank our co-developers, Many Mansions, for the ongoing partnership in bringing this building to life. We have been so honored to work alongside you. All right, for those of you in these front seats, please come up and join me as we cut the ribbon. 1, 2, and 3.
Good morning, everyone. Like Stephanie, I want to thank everyone for coming out on this beautiful morning to honor our effort in bringing Summit View Apartments to this community. My name is Rick Schrader. I'm president of Many Mansions, and it's been my honor for the past 27 years to be part of an organization whose mission is to help those in the community most in need of housing, and to be part of a collaboration that has brought such beautiful housing to this community and to our veterans. So I want to again thank everyone for being here and honoring this endeavor. You know, George Eliot wrote in her book, Middlemarch, "But what we call our despair is often only the painful eagerness of unfed hope." What we call our despair is often the painful eagerness of unfed hope. And when we think of the enormous challenges posed by homelessness in the city, in this county, in this state, we often sometimes fall into despair. But we should not. It's not despair, but unfed hope, hope that we eagerly await. But today, for Summit View, we wait no longer. Summit View is completed, Summit View is open, Summit View is operational, and Summit View is almost fully occupied. So let's hear it for Summit View. There is hope, yes. And as you can see, this is a beautiful 49-unit apartment complex, a design for veterans. And after the program, you'll have an opportunity to take a tour of the apartments, to see the units, to see the community space. Beautiful design, beautifully constructed. So I really want to thank first our architects, GGA, for their beautiful design, and United Building Company for their beautiful work, along with all the subcontractors. Thank you. But Summit View is designed to be very positive and uplifting for our residents, but also to allow us to provide important on-site and critical services for those residents, for those veterans. So we're very happy that the Veterans Administration and LA Family Housing are taking the lead in providing such services. So thank you. And indeed, LA Family Housing has been a wonderful partner. You know, this was our first, for Many Mansions, this was our first development in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you, LA Family Housing. Thank you, Stephanie, for being such a welcoming and collaborative development partner. Thank you to your staff, to Daniel, to Elda, Ali, and many others. I'm very proud of our collaboration and our partnership, so thank you. And indeed, this wasn't the only collaboration. As Stephanie mentioned, it took many, many parties coming together, many city government agencies, and it would not be possible without that collaboration from our funding, operating, and regulatory partners. So again, I want to thank the City of Los Angeles, especially the City Housing Department, the Los Angeles County Development Agency, the Department of Mental Health, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Agency, the Housing Authority for the City of Los Angeles, the Veterans Administration, U.S. Bank, Merit, Union Bank, and Merit for all coming together and making this project, these apartments, possible. And lastly, I want to acknowledge the leadership and work from our Many Mansions Board of Directors and staff. You know, it was the Board of Directors who took, I think, a very courageous step 6.5 years ago to enter into our joint venture development agreement with LA Family Housing to be our first Los Angeles-based project. So I want to thank the leadership of our Board of Directors, and I want to thank the staff who've worked on this ever since. I want to make a special acknowledgement to Alexander Russell, our Chief Operating Officer, who really pushed, this was his vision. He was the one that pushed us into it. Derek Wada, our Vice President of Real Estate. Rodney Thompson, Musan Ma, who are both the project managers here, for their tireless work. And Claudia Jagari, our regional manager who has been head of our lease-up operations. The work does not end with the development. Many Mansions will continue to provide the property management here, LA Family Housing, Veterans Administration, the services. This is just the beginning. The state also plays a very large role in affordable housing. Not only does it provide much of the funding for affordable housing developments, but it sets the tone and direction for affordable housing and the push to end homelessness. And it's my great honor today to introduce Assemblymember Luz Rivas as our next speaker. Since 2018, Assemblymember Rivas has represented the 43rd Assembly District, the area that the Assemblymember actually grew up in. As an engineer and educator, she has recently brought important legislation in the state affecting nonprofits, affordable housing development, and homeless services. So it's my great pleasure to introduce and welcome Assemblymember Luz Rivas.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Isn't this a great day to be here to see this beautiful building? I was just commenting to Stephanie, it's beautiful. And very proud to represent this district and to be here today. I represent the 43rd Assembly District. It's like Rick mentioned, it's where I grew up. I grew up down the street. So very excited to be here in my own community. When I first got elected 5 years ago, I knew I wanted to work on homelessness and affordable housing. And one of the first people I met with was Stephanie and the LA Family Housing team. And I remember her showing her plans for developments in this area, and this is one of them that was in the planning stages. And I listened to her and her team on how hard it was to cobble together all of the funding necessary to make this project a reality, from the city, the county, the state, federal, everything that you need to do, investors. And one of the things that I got out of that is like, why are we making it so hard? You know, and I went back to Sacramento and talked to my team. We need to work on making sure that the state is structured to deliver faster, right, and more projects. And I've been successful at some legislation that makes our homelessness programs all in one department or, you know, one entity. Others, I'd want to go bigger, but the governor hasn't agreed with me. But we're still pushing, right? Because ongoing funding for projects like this is what the state should be delivering to counties and cities. And because look at the result. Look at the result. We're here witnessing what can happen when we all come together. And especially in serving veterans that need our help, that served our country, that protected us, that have always been there for us. it's time for us to be here for them. And I'm glad that LA Family Housing, Many Mansions, thank you to the City of Los Angeles, the county, for all coming together to deliver this project in our community. I don't, thank you. You know, as we cut the ribbon today, I was thinking how great, this is just the beginning. And we're going to see even more things come out of projects like this. And I'm so proud that our work is not stopping here, because we're going to continue to fight for more funding, for more projects like this. And this is a great example of what can happen when we all come together, you know, because I really believe that we can solve homelessness. And if we take the appropriate steps to set these data-driven goals and deliver projects like this, we will make sure that everyone in our community is housed. So thank you so much for all of you that are here that worked on this, that partnered on this project, that were here early on. I just want to thank you, and I want to commit that the state of California will continue to work together with the county, with the city of Los Angeles. Like the mayor says, lock arms, right? The state of California is also here to deliver and to partner. So thank you very much. And next, I'm happy to introduce Supervisor Catherine Barger. There she is.
Well, you've heard good morning, so I'm going to make sure we don't go into good afternoon. What an honor. And I have to say thank you for letting me come into your backyard, Councilmember Rodriguez. It is a joy. I don't know about y'all, when I was driving up here, I thought this is why I think each and every one of us do our job in each and every day. And what I've said is, and I'll say it again, the word homeless and veterans should never be used in the same sentence. And I have to say, you know, I can look at my speech, but what I learned talking to these incredible individuals, these new residents here, thank you for sharing your story and being vulnerable, because I know that by the grace of God, none of us have been in this situation, but we could be. You all gave so much so that we can stand here representing you. So I want to thank you not only for your service, but for being here today to let us know that there is a face behind each individual that we are fighting each and every day to get housing for. So thank you for your service, and thank you for being here. Yeah. So, you know, I know that we were all a little disheartened when we looked at the numbers with the new homeless count that came out, especially when we looked at the veterans. It's estimated that there was a 12% increase in the number of veterans that are homelessness across LA County. Projects like this are important, and I know that I can speak for many of the electeds today who are working to try to address this in communities. And I want to use this as the reason why yes, we can versus no, we can't. This is arguably one of the most beautiful buildings that I've seen in a long time. So I want to thank LA Family Housing and Many Mansions for making it happen. This is really a testimony to what we can do when we work together. And in closing, I'll just say this. When I look at the fact that it's always the city versus the county, this is an example of where working together you can move mountains. And from what I understand, we had to move a mountain here, didn't we? But you can move mountains. I want to thank my county departments, Department of Mental Health, Veterans Affairs, for working and collaborating with the City of LA. I want to thank the people that have worked on this, because I know we gave a little grant toward getting this across the finish line. But make no mistake, working together and collaborating, which I think is what everybody wants. People are sick and tired of hearing it's not my problem, it's all of our problem. And I make this commitment to you, and especially working up in Sacramento, we're here to support you and make sure that the visions that you have to make it easier for us at the local level are going to make it happen. And so I will commit, because they're not here, on behalf of all my supervisors, that we are going to have your back and work with you to make that happen. And I have a proclamation for, and I won't have you all come up because I know that we're crunched for time, but I have a proclamation for LA Family Housing and Many Mansions in celebration of the grand opening Summit View Apartments. And I want to, again, thank you for letting me be a part of it today. And with that, it's my honor to introduce someone who I not only consider an incredible colleague, mayor, but also a friend, someone who, in the short time you've been in office, have shown us what you can do and where we as electeds need to continue to work with you to make it happen. So I want to thank you, Mayor Bass. So let's give Mayor Karen Bass a big round of applause.
Well, I just have to say that this is the best way to start a morning. It really is. It really is. I tell you that I'm so proud to be here, and I just want to thank Many Mansions and LA Family Housing for all that you do. Where's Stephanie? Stephanie, what you do on a daily basis in terms of saving lives, what you do at LA Family Housing, I've been there, I know your work, and one of the things that I say to Angelinos all across the city, people don't necessarily realize what is done in this city on a daily basis to save lives, to get people off the street, to reclaim people's lives, and we need to lift up the work that you do. And what a beautiful example. Coming up here and seeing this beautiful building, but not just the building, how about that view? How about this view? And looking at people now on canoes out in the water, and I'm hoping maybe some of you are in the Navy. You're going to be out there on the water. But, you know, this is what we can do when we work together. And Supervisor referenced it. Just think. I mean, we have been working together. We've joined forces. We've locked arms, the city and the county and the state. So the Assemblywoman is not just the Assemblywoman from this district. What she didn't mention is that she's also the leader of the Assembly members in the county. And 1/3 of the members in the state legislature, there's 120 people in the state legislature, both the Senate and the Assembly. 40 of them are from LA County. Do you know how much power that is? And then she's in charge of the LA County delegation. That's a tremendous amount of power. And if you think of our Assembly delegation, our state delegation, our congressional delegation, we're all coming together, and our city council. That's what it takes on the public sector side, to come together. And one thing I do have to note, if you look at us all, we do have one thing in common. We're all ladies. So it's the girl power coming together and getting stuff done. We have the wonderful leader of our housing, Valicia Adams Kellum, taking over LASA. Been there 5 months and already making a difference. But this is what we need to do to solve the crisis in our city. And most of the time we sit and we mourn about how many people are on the street. And I think of that every single day. Every single day I drive through LA and see tents, and I just double down and triple down my commitment to say this is not going to be LA's future. It absolutely isn't. And what a wonderful day to be here with veterans. You know, the time I served in Congress, I had the opportunity to work very closely with our military. I served on foreign affairs. I traveled the world with our military. And I have such incredible respect for what you did when you were in service. And to me, you deserve this. This is the way we repay you for your service, to not just say, thank you for your service like everybody does, but most of the time those thank yous, not much is there other than the words. This is the deeds. I'm so happy to see that this is where you will be living. One of the things that I learned is that veterans sometimes don't qualify for housing if they take veteran benefits. Can you believe that? Because that pushes them over the threshold to say, if you take veterans benefits, you make too much money, so you can't qualify for housing. We have raised this with the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and this is going to change. And I know that many mansions had to deal with that, and you overcame that obstacles. And all the obstacles that get in the way of housing people in this city, we need to set those obstacles aside. And today is an example of that. And our leader in this effort, the Councilwoman, who's also from this area, who spent this, as you said, was one of the first things you did as a member of the City Council. And just know that I stand with you when you are ready for your next development. So join me in welcoming the leader of the area, Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And as I come up here, I just think the Barbie movie's got nothing on us, ladies. That's all I got to say. Well, I can't even begin to tell you what a thrill and a joy it is for me to be here this morning. There's no better way to celebrate than in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, the heartbeat of Los Angeles. And there is no greater feeling. Stephanie didn't use the words that I used when we did the video on the groundbreaking. What I typically say at every groundbreaking is groundbreakings are great, but ribbon cuttings are a hell of a lot better. And today is a hell of a lot better. When I think about the obstacles that we overcame in order to achieve this magnificent end result, it was literally moving mountains. The combination of there was a reason why this property had never been developed. The topography of it, the engineering, all of the obstacles to help construct what we now have took a great deal of time, resources, and engineering talent and expertise to help make this all come together. I want to thank you, Stephanie, and I want to thank Many Mansions and everybody, the community especially, that was involved. I know I fought for some specific amenities to be included because I wanted to make sure that when we develop these types of projects, doing it right is going to greenlight our ability to do it in every other part of the city and the state where we know we need more families to say yes in their neighborhoods. And that's what this project delivers. This project delivers quality design, services that help support the men and women that have so often been there in support of us. When I think about how we are here perched looking across the San Fernando Valley, I think it's apropos that this facility is here to serve and house our veterans, because they were, in fact, the individuals that looked over us. And so now you have this wonderful opportunity to continue to be overlooking all of and protecting all of who we are. You did so in service, and now we say in gratitude to you, please enjoy the view. You know, it was President Lincoln that made the first commitment to care for those who borne the battle. Those words are enshrined on the Veterans Administration building. And on the occasions that I have an opportunity to be in Washington, D.C., I always take a look at that and remember that. Because as a daughter of a Marine, as a daughter of a Vietnam War veteran who served our country without citizenship, I know what it means to make that sacrifice. And the fact that we are all here today collaborating to help fulfill and uphold the obligation and the commitment that President Lincoln made so many generations ago. This is what it means to deliver, to provide the support for those that served and borne that battle. And I want to say to the men and women of our armed forces, and what we do in this facility to honor you and support you, is to say thank you for your incredible service. I want you to know your service is not unrecognized. We are here to continue to fulfill the very same obligation and commitment that you made in service to our country. And with that, all I have to say to you is welcome home. And so, as I prepare to turn this over to our next speaker, someone who is going to, an agency that is absolutely critical to ensuring that once we place individuals, that they have the support services that they need to ensure they have the success and livability environment that they need to enjoy this facility. And that is none other than Jesus Romero from our Department of Mental Health Services. Thank you all for being here today.
Good morning, everybody. I assure you, I'm not Jesus Romero Jr. My name is Robbie Martinez Montgomery, and I have the pleasure of working for the Department of Mental Health. I'm a mental health services coordinator and a housing navigator. And I have the pleasure of speaking to you today to share some remarks that the Department of Mental Health wanted to share with you. It's a pleasure to celebrate the Summit View grand opening today. It's a continuous effort to expand supportive housing in the county. Supportive housing is a proven model that works when people experiencing homelessness and mental illness are provided affordable housing, appropriate services and resources. They are likely to remain housed and succeed in their journey in healing and recovery. This is especially crucial for veterans who have the unique well-being challenges such as post-traumatic stress disorder or other difficulties adjusting to civilian life after their time in the service. I'm proud to highlight that Los Angeles County Mental Health, their financial commitment to this building and to a supportive housing for individuals and veterans experiencing homelessness. Since 2019, our department has funded more than 50 permanent housing developments throughout LA County. This includes $3 million in No Place Like Home funding for Summit View. Twelve out of 48 units in this development will be dedicated to clients who have experienced homelessness and are in need of mental health services. To support clients' well-being, a variety of supportive services will be provided on site, including mental health, substance abuse, case management, benefits access to assistance and advocacy, opportunities for training, education, and job readiness, with a focus on helping residents build, sustain, and strengthen their sense of purpose connection to the community. These services and additional resources will be tailored to support each client's individual needs to support their successful transition from homelessness to residential stability and self-sufficiency. Additionally, this development will feature amenities such as a computer room, a fitness center, community room, lounge areas, a dog park, and spaces that will promote a sense of wellness, purpose, and belonging. The unique trauma-informed design of Summit View will also encourage resident social interaction and staff, and as well as opportunities for introspection and meditation. I want to acknowledge Many Mansions, LA Family Housing, and the numerous planners involved in planning and designing, building, operating, and supporting Summit View. I also want to thank Supervisor Kathleen Barger and LA Family County Board of Supervisors for their ongoing leadership and support in making mental health services, supportive housing services a priority in the county. Lastly, I want to recognize that the Department of Mental Health housing team have contributed a diligent effort to make projects like Summit View a reality, vastly improving the well-being and life trajectories for many individuals and veterans across the county. Thank you for your time and congratulations on the grand opening. I'd like to bring up one of our partners that we work with often at the Department of Mental Health, Dr. Adams Killam. We'd love to hear some more remarks from you this morning.
Thank you so much. You know, I had the pleasure of serving veterans when I was finishing up my PhD at Stanford. And it's my work with the veterans that really solidified my commitment to community service. It's something that prepared me to lean in and do whatever it takes. And I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm honored to be of service, and I appreciate your service to all of us. Oh, and thank you. It's flying away. Thank you. Stephanie, you know, I'm a fellow provider now working at LASA, and I just want to say how proud I am of you. You've always been such an amazing leader, and to see what you've created through all of the difficulties of COVID and come out on the other side, you really are an amazing example of what it means to be committed to service to all, and particularly to the veterans. So I appreciate that so much. And all of LA Family Housing staff and many mansions for what you've done, because you've taken a first step, and I hope there'll be many more steps like this in the future. We are locking arms, and I'm so grateful to the mayor and to the Board of Supervisors, to Supervisor Barger, for all that you've done to make this moment possible. At LASA, we are committed to continuing to be the head, the lead, the folks that can shift the way folks are thinking about homelessness. There's so much hopelessness, and I am committed to turning things around, to being where we need to be when there's gaps in service, when there's gaps in answers, when folks don't know where to go. LASA is committed to being that answer. That hasn't always been the case, I know. But going forward, we want to be the example, the beacon of hope that shows that an amazing project like this is the end point of when we find someone in an encampment or we find them living in their vehicles. We need to be a part of the infrastructure and the scaling up of what LA really should be and will be in the future, a place without encampments and such despair. We're committed to doing whatever it takes, to going into those encampments, to rescuing our veterans, to walking alongside you and many others to ensure that you find stable housing and a path forward. This is a new day. It's a new day for you, but it's also a new day for all of us, because every time we see an amazing project like this come to fruition, we have more hope, we have more vision, and we have a path forward that we can really stand behind. I'm honored to be a part of this work. It was hard to leave my job at St. Joseph Center of 15 years of doing the direct service provision, but I know I'm where I need to be to improve our system, to improve our service delivery, and to do whatever it takes. And so I thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor to be a part of this work. Thank you. I'd like to now call up our partner, Estelle V. Anna from Veterans Affairs, that helped make this whole project possible.
Good morning, everybody. I'll admit, I'm from the west side, so it's a little hot today. But it's an honor to be here today. On a professional level, I'm here representing the VA and our collaboration with Many Mansions and LA Family Housing. I think most of you have been working with Russell Phillips, and I'm sorry that he's not here today. He's on leave, but he wishes he was, so I'm here in his place. But on a personal note, I am a veteran myself. I am the daughter of a veteran. So it's always a pleasure and honor for me to be here to see my brothers and sisters get what they rightfully deserve. And I hope to continue to do this work to see many more veterans housed, because I agree, homelessness and veterans should never be in the same sentence. So I'm glad to be a part of this work. With me today is Cass Kearney, who is one of our PBB managers. And I think Holly Van Dyke might be here today too. I'm not sure. Holly, if you're here, raise your hand. But she is our on-site case manager for Summit View. So she'll be the one providing case management to our veterans here. Over the past many years, HUD-VASH has housed over 5,000 veterans who are currently still in our program. 1,200 of those are in projects like Summit View. And by the end of this year, I see Tim, who knows this very well. By the end of this year, VASH will have partnered and have 60 VASH buildings across Kern County, San Luis Obispo, Ventura, and Los Angeles. So it's important that we have these partnerships so that we can end veteran homelessness. So congratulations to all of you for this beautiful grand opening, and thanks for having us.
Good morning, not quite afternoon yet. My name is Ari Baliak. I'm the president and CEO of Merit Community Capital. We invested in this amazing project. Merit is a mission-based funder, and we believe everyone in California should live in a community where they can thrive. And that's why we invest in affordable housing and the people who build it to create a greater California. We only work with mission-aligned developers doing great work, like many mansions in LA family housing. Everyone in California should live in a community where they can thrive, and we have a special obligation specifically to our veterans to make sure that they live in those communities. You know, I look out and I see this amazing community which was extraordinarily hard to develop, which took a long time and a lot of committed people in order to get that done. Many of the committed people are here today to celebrate it. And oftentimes we drive around and there's hopelessness sometimes around homelessness, that we don't know how to solve this problem. But we do know how to solve this problem. Summit View and projects like this, great projects with services, are the way to solve homelessness. And we just need, only the resources and the processes to get it done. That's pretty easy, right? But we know how to solve this problem, and that's the most important thing. It's oftentimes said that it takes a village to raise somebody. So to build affordable housing, you only need 2 amazing developers, the city, the county, many departments, LASA, HACLA, the VA, TCAC, and TITLAC. That's all we need to do this. This village, all of us together, can address this crisis that we're in, and we can solve this problem so that we don't have to be sad and hopeless the next time we look at the numbers, and the numbers are higher. The numbers should be 0. 0. So I'm excited today to be here for this grand opening. I'm really excited to be here for many, 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 many more grand openings across Los Angeles until we solve this problem, so that it happens so often that we don't need to bring television cameras out here to show it. It's just everywhere, right? That there's just housing everywhere. So I look forward to every single day going to a groundbreaking and a grand opening. Now, so I'm the funder, investor in affordable housing, and I'm always put before the most important person to speak at these events. And that is the person that we built this housing for. The residents who live here, whose home is here, who now live in a community where they can thrive. Actually, hold on. Before I do that, I would like to just recognize and thank the Merit team who's here, who work on this project. So David Eisenman and Carla, thank you so much. So it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dante Aguilar, who's a resident of Summit View. Dante is a U.S. Navy veteran who served in the Iraq War in the early 2000s. He has deep roots here in this community where he grew up. In fact, his mother went to Sylmar High School. Dante moved into his new apartment here in Summit View in early April of this year, and we're so thrilled that he's here with us today. So please join me in welcoming Dante.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to see all of you here today on this special day. As you know, my name is Dante. I'm a Navy vet, as was said. USS Anchorage Command, 32nd Street Naval Base, San Diego. All right. Let's see. I was part of the Operation Iraqi Freedom. My command was also tasked with being responders for the USS Cole bombing in 2000. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I accomplished a lot in the Navy, but even with all my accolades and achievements in life, nothing could ever prepare me for what was to come. I went from being a proud service member of the armed forces to becoming just another statistic on the streets of Skid Row. I saw and heard things that one should never be subjected to. But enough about that. Look where I am today. I moved into this beautiful apartment in April of 2023. Finally, I have a safe, permanent home that I can feel truly proud of. The community we have here at Summit View is special. I learned right away. After years of homelessness, moving into a brand new building like this one was a big adjustment for me. Right after I moved in, my neighbors started checking on me. They would bring me food and ask me how I was doing. They helped me out a lot, which is true, actually. Today, this amazing community is one of my favorite things about living here. My neighbors at Summit View do support me, and I support them. Let's see. We enjoy chatting, cooking, and looking out for one another, spending time together. As much as I enjoy my neighbors, I enjoy my alone time, too. As soon as my door closes to my place, it's just serene, just zen, you know, like nobody else is in the world but me. I play my guitar, and my reason for playing guitar is so I can play with my father, who's a musician one day, and doesn't know that I actually have progressed in the playing of a guitar, so I'm ready to surprise him soon. Today, when I walk through my front door, I feel something I haven't felt in a very long time. Home. I feel like myself again. Every day I cook in my own kitchen, which I really get down in. I take a shower in my own bathroom, sleep in my own bed, and my confidence level has gone through the roof. Thanks to my incredible neighbors and the wonderful staff here at Summit View, I am thriving. Thank you to each and every person who has made this building possible. Please know that you have made such huge difference in my life and the lives of so many others. Thank you.
Well, what a powerful way to end our program this morning. So thank you, everyone, for coming out this morning. Thank you to our guests. Thank you for our distinguished elected officials and speakers. You've heard a lot about our Summit View apartments. Now it's time to experience them. So we are offering tours. We're offering 10-minute tours. It'll depart in the lobby just behind us. We're going up the elevator. And we want to thank our residents who are allowing us to go into their homes so you can experience firsthand what it's like to live at Summit View. Breakfast is also served upstairs. You can look at the wonderful community spaces that we have, case management offices, property management offices. So with this, maybe Stephanie has some concluding words.
We do this work for our residents. We do this work for the community at large. But the heart and soul from our staff to see this through, a project that took multiple years, lots of different teams from both of our agencies worked on this. And so I also invite you, as you look at the building, talk to our team, hear their heart, why they're in this work. And with that, I do want to give a special shout out to Elda Mendez-Limas, our Chief Real Estate Officer, who inherited this, and Martha Macias, who is our Deputy Chief Program Officer over all of our permanent supportive housing. Together with our Many Mansions colleagues, this is the heart of why we do this work. Thank you so much for celebrating with us.